In this video, I'll be showing you how to paint barbarians for Heroquest and other tabletop board games. The first step is priming, and I chose Skull White GW Primer for this. Then I used Bugman's Glow over the entire model, not worrying if I accidentally got some on the clothes too. On top of those skin areas, I used Bestigor Flesh. At the moment, this makes him look like a Simpsons character, but this changes later in the process. The main leather portion of the boots was painted with Mornfang Brown. For the blade of the broadsword, or as it's more well known,
the broadsword. Broadsword.
I went with the classic lead belcher. If you look at the old box art, you'll see that the boots are held together by leather strips. I took a small brush and painted these with Zamaseed Desert. Then for the tops of the boots, I applied Baneblade Brown. This looks either like fur or like the skin of an animal hide. Doombull Brown was applied to the one piece of clothing that the barbarian is wearing. For the new female miniature, you could use the same color for her top if you wanted to. Any mistakes were fixed by applying more Bestigor Flesh to the legs. I used Balthazar Gold for the main color of the belt around his waist. For the gems on that belt, I used Templeguard Blue and Warpstone Glow, though the gems are so small that the color difference is barely distinguishable. Next, the barbarian's flowing locks were given color with Dryad bark. While waiting for the hair to dry, I painted the sword's hilt with Hashut Copper. The gem embedded in the hilt was made red with some Wild Rider Red. Then with a frayed brush, I dry brushed Gorthor Brown onto the hair. Next, I dry brushed Tuskor Fur onto the clothes. There was a minor color difference, so feel free to add some white if you think this step didn't make the details stand out enough. I took a huge and unnecessary risk for this tabletop quality mini, adding eyes. It's very easy to mess up and end up with something like this. I used White Scar to create the whites of the eyes. Then, while squinting, I attempted to make pupils with Abaddon Black. From straight on, he looks a little bit derpy, but from above he looks like an angry barbarian. Rakarth Flesh was dry brushed onto the skin to make it lighter and break up the solid color a bit. After that, I applied Reichland Flesh Shade to all the skin areas. This gives it a more realistic feel.
Look at the muscularity!
Now it's time for my favorite step, adding more shades. I used a combination of Seraphim Sepia and Agrax Earthshade on pretty much everything, including a bit on the skin to darken the recesses even more. Once that dried, Runefang Steel and a small brush brought out the details of the center and sharp blades on the sword. After applying those shades, I thought that the left knee put looked a bit weird, so I attempted to fix it with more Bestigor Flesh and a smaller amount of shade. For basing, I spread PVA glue on the entire base. I then proceeded to sprinkle on 2 patches of static grass and dunk the whole base into some soil. This stuff is rather sandy, but it makes it easier to work with than a soil with a higher clay content. The final step is to paint the black rim of the base with Abaddon Black. And here is your finished barbarian. He was a lot of fun to paint and is perfect to face the forces of evil. He also fits with nature terrain, like these rocks that I made from sponges. Thank you everyone so much for watching this painting tutorial. If you liked it, please do give me a like and a sub, because that really helps me out, and I will see you all in my next video. Goodbye!